Merry Christmas, everybody. Or, it will be Christmas in a few hours. Anyway, wanted to show a few things off while it's still light out this Christmas Eve 2024. First off, I'm here at Gallivan Plaza in downtown Salt Lake City, where I'm focusing on this arch right here. As you can see, by day, you can see these iridescent panels reflecting different colors in the daylight. Now, by night, it's these, I want to say they're LED strips, but I could be wrong. But those lights you see surrounding the panels, that's what you primarily see at night. And it's very beautiful. Up next here on South Temple Street near Temple Square, this is the top of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building.
Gingerbread houses up there. I remember once they had.
And if you look at the very top of the building behind that eagle, that's actually a beehive. The beehive is the symbol of the state of Utah. As a matter of fact, Utah is called the Beehive State. I mean, it's literally on the state flag. And this is one of many buildings I used to pass by here walking on my way to work when I used to live on South Temple Street. Anyway, moving along towards State Street, we first have a church administrative building, and that tall building back there, that's actually the main LDS church office building. And then if you come over here, that building that's currently covered in construction tarps, that's actually the Lion House. And right next to that, that's the Beehive House. Those two houses there were the residences of Brigham Young and his family back in the earliest days of Salt Lake City. And as a matter of fact, the Beehive House has been the official residence for the church president until the middle of the 20th century. And now the Beehive House, at least, is open for tours. Lastly, see that gate there that's straddling State Street? They actually call that Eagle Gate because it's topped with an eagle. How very appropriate. Lastly, in this area, I wanted to point out a little something called the Key Bank Tower. Now, this opened, I believe, as part of the old ZCMI Center as the Beneficial Life Building. But since then, it's been taken over by Key Bank. And now they have the naming rights to this tower. And now, after having taken a break from the cold in a downtown cafe, I've come to the Gilgal Sculpture Garden on 5th South between 7th and 8th East. So it's not all that far from Trolley Square, which was kind of the focus of my last video, and I'll put that down in the description below for you. Anyway, I thought I'd check this place out again while it was still light out. Because we don't have all that many daylight hours left. To be perfectly honest, it is winter officially now, after all. Little bit of a distraction before this evening's main attraction, which will be the lights at Temple Square. And now as we get towards sunset here on Christmas Eve in Salt Lake City, the Trolley Square water tower finally lights up for the evening. This is another thing I'd used to see every night from my apartment window when I lived on South Temple Street. I was on the top floor of that building, and I would look over here to see this thing all lit up. Why it took me so long to actually visit the eponymous Trolley Square, who knows? So now, here at night, by the city center track station, here's the ZCMI storefront I mentioned in my last video. Nowadays, it serves as the Main Street entrance to the Macy's at City Creek Center. Thought I'd show this off before going on to tonight's main event in Temple Square. Check this out. These are some Christmas decorations within the old ZCMI storefront. Apparently, when the ZCMI store was still active in this space, they did something very similar, and Macy's wanted to honor that tradition. Feel free to pause the video anytime you want to check these out in more detail. There's more over here on the opposite side of the entrance. Alright, on to Temple Square now. And here at last are the Christmas lights at Temple Square. But first, this statue of Brigham Young, who declared back in 1847, "This is the place." This is essentially a monument to all the pioneers who came here and made this city even possible. It almost feels wrong to be bringing a Fumo into the very heart of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As far as I know, no Toho Project character is even covertly Christian. But at least we can say of Miko here that she's a visiting dignitary. And we'll just leave it at that. So this part of the light display deals specifically with the nativity story. You'll notice all these animals here. Livestock have kind of been central to the nativity story. Well, at least the shepherds minding their flocks have been. Because it was to them that the angels came and told them about the Savior's birth. Told them how they would find the babe in swaddling cloths and all that. The actual nativity is further out this way. There's the Virgin Mother and Child, along with another shepherd. But, you know, there were multiple shepherds who came to witness that birth on that very night so long ago. And this part of the display is actually a recurring theme. There are various instances of love, joy, hope, peace, all the things the Christmas season should embody in a variety of languages. Then again, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a worldwide organization. And this just happens to be right out in front of the church office building. And there's a globe attached to the, well, not attached so much as carved into the side of that building. For a while, Temple Square here has been undergoing major renovations. See, even this part of the square here, where I'm standing now, and where people are admiring the lights, that was all still under construction when I first moved here in May of 2022. I'm looking at the Salt Lake Temple right now. At least I believe that's the Salt Lake Temple. I'd have to look at a map of the square itself to get a better idea of which building does what. And of course, more shepherds coming to see the baby Jesus. Because of course they're going to. It's part of the story. I'm now at the Latter-day Saints Conference Center across North Temple from Temple Square. City Creek actually runs underneath North Temple Street, so the fountains like the one you see here are supposedly directly fed by City Creek. And we're not done yet. Now, these metal cylinders that you see here, placed around these Christmas lights over by the LDS Conference Center, these depict scenes from the Nativity story. And I do mean all of it. Now back in Temple Square proper, see that building all the way in the back? That is the world-famous Salt Lake City Tabernacle. Used to be called the Mormon Tabernacle, but these days the LDS Church wants to distance itself from the polygamist groups. That's why they changed the name several years ago. And I do believe that building over there is indeed the Salt Lake City Temple. And yes, if you couldn't already tell, this square is undergoing renovations. Just look up at all the cranes. Check this out, will ya? The Walker Center Weather Tower is now decked out in the traditional holiday colors. Red, green, and white. Or is that supposed to be gold? Anyway, we're almost close to the last part of our light tour tonight. Check this out, too. These... can't tell if they're flowers or angels, but they're changing colors, too. Just like the Walker Center Tower is up there. Lastly, I showed that little tunnel of light that you see in front of you on Facebook a couple of years ago, but that was during the day. Here it is now at night. And so tonight's festivities end exactly where they began, at Gallivan Plaza in downtown Salt Lake City. On behalf of my Fumos, I'd like to wish everybody Merry Christmas, and of course to all a good night.